Welcome to reInvent. It's great to have you all here. This is awesome. I recognize, I know it was hard to get into this event. I really appreciate you guys making the effort and getting here in time at the beginning of the show. Thank you for coming. I'm going to dive right in because we have a lot to cover today. The thing that I think most of you, and maybe I should start by asking a quick question. How many of you are in the customer engagement, customer service field? Most of you? That's kind of what I expected. That's awesome. Definitely birds of a feather here. It's great to have you all. For the last few years, you've probably heard a mantra of, we're fundamentally seeing a shift that people expect better, more personalized customer service. And you probably honestly do believe that, but also you've probably seen during that time that it hasn't happened as fast as we wanted to. But that inflection point is happening now, and a couple things are going to force it to happen in interesting ways. The first one is the customers are actually demanding it. We're seeing now that 32% of customers say they will leave after one bad experience. And we're seeing it happen. I bet you're seeing it happen in your businesses too, certainly in the ones where switching costs are getting easier and easier every day. And the second thing is your customers are getting disintermediated from you by more and more services, whether that be something like a ChatGPT or Google or other things. It's harder and harder for your customers to get to you. Now, historically, that was probably seen as a good thing. You said, hey, deflection rates, we can get rid of that, or we can pay to not have our customer reach us. That might have been a good idea when cost was the driver, but if you still think cost is the main driver of your customer service experience, you're probably going to get left behind. Those same companies that are willing to help you deflect people are probably also happy to take your customer list and walk it over to your competitor and hand it to them. And that is definitely not where you want to be in the next few years as the world fundamentally changes in the way people interact. You're going to be trying to get as much interaction, as much engagement from those customers as possible. And if you're not ready for that change and actually doing the things that make them want to engage with you, you are going to be left behind. So today we're going to talk a lot about what we're doing to drive the outcomes there, to make that a different experience. Now, I called this talk the Agentic AI Advancements in Customer Experience because I knew you guys would all want to come if it was about Agentic AI. But I also think we're going to talk about a lot more than that. We're going to talk about customer outcomes during this whole thing, and that's going to be really important. I'm going to have myself up here, Pasquale De Maio. I'm the Vice President for Amazon Connect, and I've got some great helpers. I've got James Boswell. He's going to come up here from Centrica, and I've got Bamba Daouf, who's a tremendous leader in our SA organization, who's going to show you some of the real-world ways people are using Connect. It's going to be a great talk. I'm going to go quickly because we have a lot to cover. 29 announcements this week for Amazon Connect. 29 new, fully separable customer capabilities. In fact, we probably could have even broken them down further, but 29 was enough. They had me memorizing them the same way you memorize the states. Alabama, Alaska, Agentic AI agent assistants. I didn't get all 29, so I can't even tell you all of them, but it's pretty exciting. So getting back to the reason you're here, the thing that's fundamentally changing is that people's expectation for instant is getting higher and higher. You go in and use some of these tools now, and the answers you get are immediate. They're not always right still, but they're getting better and better every day. And they certainly are fast and broad and capable, and people's expectations just are different than they were before. They want to be able to access this stuff anytime, anywhere, through whatever touch point makes sense for them. They need to be relevant and personal. And that's been something we've talked about a long time, and a number of Connect customers have started to get there and have even gotten there, but it's still an area where I see broadly in the industry, folks aren't building these truly personal experiences, something that recognizes you right away and keeps your consistent experience across the entire engagement, even if that engagement gets broken up. Empathetic and trustworthy. I think this is actually, as we move towards these immediate solutions, being able to have real empathy, not the fake, oh, that's a great question. I'm so glad you asked me, empathy. And also having the trustworthy aspect of it, which if you're not sure you're getting the right answer, do you really feel like you got an answer at all? We've got to get people past that. And finally, operations at any scale, whether it's a one-on-one conversation in your small business or you're a very large business, maybe of 100,000 agents, you want to be able to scale across that. And times change quickly. You may find yourself with needing a very heavy engagement one day and very light the next day. Certainly this time of year for Amazon, that's the case where we have massive scaling up, and then we'll see a scaling down in the new year. That's something we want to be prepared for, but some of you can't prepare for. How do you scale quickly, and how do you operate at any scale is incredibly important. Now, if you're out there in the customer service arena, and you've said you are for the most part, then you've probably seen something that's pretty concerning, which is that the options you have you trapped between a rock and a hard place, which is legacy platforms that don't really understand and comprehend AI. They aren't really built for it. and it's really hard to get results. And if you do get results, they're disjoint from each other across the experience, whether that's multiple AI systems or whether that's the fact that you're having to have context across the experience and it's disappearing. And so you end up still, even though you have a bunch of smart things in theory, in practice, they're collectively dumb. That's no way to live, as the old saying used to go. The thing I would say is on the other end of that, you've got all these AI point solutions that are saying, I can fix everything. I'm just going to throw some agentic AI at it and we'll do everything right. And the thing is, they will fix your simple problems, but the more complex the problem gets, the worse they become at it and the more risk you engage with. But the promise is everything's instant and perfect. But when you go to implement that, what we're seeing from our customers who have gone and rushed forward into that stuff is they've come back and said, actually, yes, it took care of some of the simple stuff, but I was already pretty good at the simple stuff. The hard part is the hard part. And so how can you help me with that? And that's where we think there's a better way. We really do believe that it's time to reimagine our customer experiences in this new AI era, and Amazon Connect is here to help you do that. So how do we think about that in Amazon Connect? Well, the first thing we did was we said, you need to have AI working at every touch point. This should not be an or question. This should be an and answer, which is from the very beginning of every engagement. Maybe that's automated. Maybe it's something that's even in a web page that's telling you what you should be doing. Every one of these experiences should be improved by AI's understanding of your customer, and that context and flow should touch every touch point across the way, and you shouldn't be basing these things on a cost trade-off decision that's making you make a subpar outcome for your customers. So the first step to that is to have a solution where everything is fully integrated. We built Connect from the ground up to enable AI. When we launched it 8 years ago, it's hard to believe, 8 years ago, I used to have dark hair. But when we launched it 8 years ago, there was this idea that we had native AI in Connect, and that was kind of revolutionary at the time. That was just basic NLU, and people were blown away. The world has changed. Now, at every single aspect of Connect, AI touches everything, and it's fully integrated from the ground up across every channel, across every touch point. And then what that means is that once you've got that implemented, you're now having full visibility across the entire contact, or even beyond one contact into other contacts, because we're able to take all the information, all the sharing customers give you, and we're actually giving you that capability. We're giving you that capability to be able to do that with each contact. So instead of that 1% to 2% you were doing, or maybe 5% if you're really daring and are willing to pay a lot of people to analyze something, why not, instead of doing spot checking and saying, well, directionally I know what's happening at some point, no, I know what's happening in real time in every single contact. I can make changes. I can change the behavior of the agent. I can help the agent. I can call a supervisor. I can create follow-ups. I don't have to take stickies and count on good intentions to do the right thing. Someone calls in and says, hey, I want to change my password. 3 seconds later, they say it's because I want to cancel my service. Don't just keep changing the password. Yes, that'll get you lower handle time. I don't think that's what we should be going for. Instead, get that customer and understand what their problem is and help them find the value. And even before that happens, get proactive and show them that value weeks or months before they try to change that password. The hardest part of working out is putting on your sneakers. Don't let them put their sneakers on to go cancel your service. Get in front of that and help them get the value of your service ahead of time, because you can see that train coming. And that data is, I bet, already in your enterprise. You just have to get access to it. In order to make all of this valuable for you, you're going to have to understand the cost of it. How many people here have cost-conscious aspects of their business? Anybody? Okay. Contact center has always been a pressure point for cost, and sometimes that's led to subpar outcomes. Sometimes it's led to good outcomes. Faster customer service is usually cheaper and better customer service is what we're striving for, hopefully. So there's a good aspect of that. There's a bad aspect of it where you're making choices where you're not doing the things you want to do because you think it will cost too much. Well, with Connect, the entirety end-to-end is charged no matter how much of the AI you use. You get paid the same amount with this fully inclusive solution we've offered. So you just pay by the minute, and you get all the AI you want, whether that be agent assistance, whether that be speech analytics, whether that be wrap-up and follow-up, whether that be automation at the beginning of the call, even if you're using Agentic AI for that, all just one low price, you don't have to worry about it. So stop making decisions based on costs and start making them based on the outcomes you want and the business outcomes you promise to your managers and the personal outcomes you promise to your customers. And then finally, I'm betting out there, how many of you have tried Agentic in your business so far? So I see fewer hands, but I still see quite a few of them. What I've talked to you, and I won't ask you individually right now, but I'd be happy to chat afterwards, what I found is it's a lot easier said than done to actually get the results you want. I see some of you nodding your head who just had your hands up. And the challenge is that it's amazing how good it gets to 80, 90%, but that last 10% is really hard. Well, we want to enable you to go into agentic on a continuum, and we'll talk more about that, but you don't need to run into it the whole way. Now, with Connect, you can be 100% agentic if you want to, but you don't have to be. You instead can move there at your own leisure, and again, there's no cost implication to that. So just to make it a little more personal, people here have probably experienced a flight delay. It's pretty stressful. You imagine, hopefully none of you on your way here. I hopefully had a clean flight here, but clean path here. But those flight delays are a great example that I think is like you can feel the angst already probably inside of yourself right now. I know I can just thinking about it. And when that happens, the first thing you think to yourself is, oh my God, this is an emergency and I've got to try and get this fixed. And so you might try a bunch of different channels. You go on the app, you go into a chat, the chat tries to sell you something. You're like, no, please stop. And then you give up and you finally probably call in and then you try and get your flight situation fixed. It doesn't have to be that way though, right? Imagine in a world where if you make contact, it just says, hey, I see your flight is delayed. Why don't I put you on the next one tonight? And what if it knew you were a business traveler and so it says, hey, you know, I can actually predict flight delays and we're pretty good at doing that stuff now. I can even offer and say, hey, would you like to get on an earlier flight to get there earlier so you don't miss that meeting? Because getting on that next meeting flight may not get you where you need to be in time. And then finally, why not just have it say, hey, I can actually get you on that, I can actually book you a flight already on a different flight and you can tell me that's not the right thing to do. And therefore, you don't even have to stress about it. That's the difference between really understanding your customer and really being proactive versus talking about proactive. And I think that's where we have to get together if we want to really meet the commitments we have to what our customers expect. And so those are the kind of things people are doing with Connect now, where we get them working through each of these scenarios. All of these things should have the same experience, whether I go on chat, whether I go on voice, whether I'm reached out to. The outcomes should all be connected, whether I talk to a person, whether I'm talking to AI. All of that needs to feel great together. Well, because of the fact that this is all built into Connect from the ground up, a lot of customers have chosen us. Folks here, Connect customers, raise your hand if you're a Connect customer, if you don't mind. First off, thank you very much. It's wonderful to see you. I remember doing this a few years ago, and 3 people raised their hand, and I was like, we got to start. We've gotten a little further now, which is wonderful. As you can see from this, we've got folks all the way from the biggest banks to little teeny folks like Slice Pizza. I always say teeny. They're a very meaningful business, but they may not compare to a Delta Airlines or an Adobe or an Adidas, but they're a wonderful company. All these folks are getting results here because they're seeing the value of being able to use Connect to create consistency and deep interactions with their customers in ways that were very hard to do with the legacy systems they had before, and we've made it a much easier thing for them. Last year, I stood up here. If you were here last year, you might have remembered me very excited to talk about people having done 6 billion minutes of AI-assisted interactions on Connect in the prior year. That was pretty exciting to us. Well, just 1 year later, we're already up to 12 billion minutes. This acceleration is significant. And this is really because we're entering a whole new era. And with our launches this week, you'll see we're now entering an era of Agentic AI and Connect as well. We had generative AI. We were doing a great job understanding intents and doing tremendous summaries that really made it clear what had happened in the call. What we hadn't done is really nailed the aspects of the agentic parts where we want to give you the ability to have AI take action on behalf of your customer. Of course, the generative part was good at understanding, but that action is really the big differentiator here. And then, of course, the memory and the context of it. If you guys have used any of these tools, the ones that work really well will sometimes say something to you like, oh, I've seen this, so you have this behavior in the past, and therefore I'm going to make these recommendations when you ask me what's a good restaurant. And that feels a lot better than when it just says, you know, Chili's when you wanted to go to someplace fancy or someplace fancy when you just wanted an easy meal, right? Those are the things that are different about having a solution that really understands the customer beyond what the legacy AI solutions can do. Rarely is it actually you can take an action you couldn't take, but now the actions and the outcomes are aligned to that. And so with our new launches here, we offer fully agentic AI in Connect for self-service and for agent assistance. We'll talk a little more about that in a second. But our approach to agentic AI is a little bit different than what you've probably seen from anybody else. First off, I think we're much more about choice than anyone else in the industry. We believe deeply that you are going to want to have different choices, and we think that as a tool, we're not trying to build walled gardens. We believe if you come to Connect, you'll stay there because you love it, and trying to trap you there is the opposite of what we want you to do. And that's proven true in the way customers adopt Connect. We see very, very few folks leave Connect, but they have the option. Your data is your data. You have that option. People choose to stay because of the fact that we offer so much optionality and so much choice. Maybe that's true. The second thing is AI teammates is where we think the world is going. We don't think that AI is going to just be replacing people all over the place. What we do believe is that AI and people will get a lot better together. And this idea of having a collaboration and AI teammate is incredibly important to how we think about this. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. But it's a game changer if you think about this. And I encourage you to see some of the other talks that are here too about the quick suite offering we have. But you're going to see this approach throughout all of AWS's offerings. Finally, in order to do this, you need to have data you can access. You need to have the knowledge you can access. And so Connect is built from the ground up to get you access to the data silos across your organization, and to both do that in a way that's scalable and performant so you can do it very, very quickly. The speed at which you get access to that data makes a tremendous difference in what the outcomes you can have. The difference between being proactive, being reactive, and having long waits on the line while you try and do something for a customer because you don't even know what you should be doing. Then once you figure it out, it takes a long time to do it. All of that needs to be a thing of the past. You need to be able to make these updates instantaneously. And that really comes down to data. So the thing I mentioned before, which I saw a lot of you kind of perk up when I did it, is this idea that instead of saying, hey, agentic everything, we're saying something very different. We're saying you can be 100% agentic if you want to, and there may be workloads that makes sense for. And we also believe you can be 100% human if you want to, and there are definitely workloads where that makes sense too. But in the middle, we believe there's a continuum that says, I probably want to be some agentic, some human. I want AI to carry the context and provide assistance across that entire thing, acting almost like a concierge for every interaction you have with a customer, remembering every part of it. And so if you think about that, then you start to think to yourself, I probably still want to have some of those deterministic workflows and AI scenarios as well in there. Maybe if I'm doing payment processing, I'm not sure how much value agentic AI brings writing some code to do a payment processing request every time. That sounds a little scary to me more than anything else. So from my standpoint, I think this path of being able to say, you pick what's right for you and what scenario is right for you without worrying about it is a huge win. And the other thing about that is the tools we are building into Connect to allow you to configure using agentic capabilities also make this much easier to design. So you sort of get this win at every touch point with AI that's very different from where you've been historically. The speed to outcome is really what you want to get there. So diving into this, what this means is you're going to have a lot more situations where AI is really acting as a teammate. So you think about this, it's the teammate of the customer, it's also the teammate of your workers, your workforce. And we build that by saying, the first thing to do is say, understand what you want to get out of the situation. Think about what humans are great at. Accentuate that, use AI to power that. Think about what automation things are much worse when a human's involved. I mean, I certainly don't want to have to, if I'm trying to check my balance, I certainly don't want to have to wait for a human being to tell me it, and I'm not sure I want them to know it, right? It's like, these are things that are just much better if they're taking care of a password reset. These are not things where a human brings value. Whereas if I have a deep question about my finances, or perhaps there's something going on with some sort of family member, I want to have that human conversation, and people are amazing at that. Well, they get a lot more amazing at it when the tools help them focus on the customer and get out of the way by giving them just suggestions that help them do the step-by-step things they need to do versus them having to sit there and alt-tab. I'm sure you've been on the phone and heard the person alt-tabbing. Sometimes you can hear their brain alt-tabbing, right? It's like, it's so hard to use some of those tools. So that's the key thing there. The other thing about this that's really important, I'm going to keep harping on this, but I'll do it quickly. But I think if you've been in the business and tried to do this, the data is so important. Any folks in here struggle with unified data? Yeah, okay, so you guys are aware of it. You guys know. It's the fact of the matter is it's been incredibly challenging for folks to get access to data, and we've made that very simple. But it's not just data that is the data in your system about your customer, your shipping, your ordering databases, your claims databases. What it really is also data about what's happening and everything that's going on in the interactions with the customers and what's happening as time passes as you try to solve these problems. And so we bring all of this, and we're bringing unified observability to Connect now with being able to see all the interactions you've had with the customer, with a person, in all those same tools and all the same systems, the same data mechanisms. We're also bringing all the observability into into the automated experiences, whether they be agentic, whether they be deterministic AI. So you can really track everything that happens here. And this fundamentally changes the way you think about how you measure things going forward. And we get out of that model of just trying to measure average handle time and get into a model of trying to understand, did we solve the problem? And if not, why not? Where should I go look and try and figure things out? So this observability is incredibly important. Now, I've talked a lot about Amazon Connect. I went fast, hopefully not too fast. I know I'm from the East Coast. I can go a little quickly sometimes. I think the most interesting thing to hear about Connect, though, is how customers are using it. And so at this point, I'd love to bring James up, if he doesn't mind, to talk a little bit about their experience at Centrica with Amazon Connect.
Some pop-ups. So, good morning, everybody. I'm James Boswell from Centrica, and it's really great to be here at re:Invent in Las Vegas. And being a Brit, it's amazing to see some sunshine and some blue sky in December. It's absolutely brilliant, so loving it. I'm here to tell a story about transformation in Centrica, and not just transformation in our business, but about how we're transforming our customers' lives and how we're re-energizing how we work in Centrica. Centrica is a vertically integrated energy company. We look after power, energy retail, energy trading, and we've been in business for 200 years. So that's a long time. We've been serving customers since 1812, and we've served those customers on a daily basis, and we reimagine their lives. Ooh, sorry. So our mission is to energize a greener, fairer future. And that is to become a net zero business by 2040. That's 5 years earlier than we were planned. And also help our customers become net zero by 2050. And that's impressive when you think we're an energy company. We literally sell gas, electricity, and energy to our customers. So becoming net neutral for our customer by 2050 is an amazing thing. And also all our customers will have renewable supply by 2030. So for electricity company, you'll have renewable supply by 2030. So, now about technology. So if you want to win in technology, you need to be cloud first. And if you want to adapt at scale, you need to be a digitally led business. Centrica is now a digitally led business, and it's cloud first. We moved to the cloud in 2017, and I had a full head of hair then. I don't now, but it's been a journey. It's been a long journey, but it's been a massive transformational journey. So how did we do that? Our transformation began with building trust and developing a shared vision of our end goal. We had to make sure we had the business buy-in and also the trust from our suppliers like AWS to make sure that we had the right end goal and the right vision of where we wanted to go as a business. And I'm pleased as a result of that transformation, we are now a digitally led business, and we've moved all of our UK contact centers to Amazon Connect. We now have omni-channel agents who are able to deal simultaneously with web and voice agents at the same time. So, what was our journey? Our journey was a really interesting one. So yesterday, we had multiple systems. We had many, many different systems, lots of legacy systems. So we had a different system for each business unit. We had a different system for call analytics. We had a different system for outbound dialing. And I think probably a lot of you resonate with this journey. You have multiple systems, all working in different directions and not being simultaneously connected together. Those systems were managed by third parties. Those third parties weren't really invested in the journey that we're going on. They weren't really on the same journey as us, so they weren't working with us to help with our customer service solutions. So it was really important that we looked at why that was. And then we had segmented data. You think of all those different systems we were using for customer contact. They didn't talk to each other. They're all segmented systems, all completely different. So for us to get data on our customers, on if they were complaining, what they're complaining about, getting that rich data was really, really challenging. We had people manually listening to calls to look at quality. We couldn't look at the analytics of those calls, so it was a very fragmented picture. So today, I'm pleased to say we've moved to Amazon Connect. We have a single solution that provides all of those things that those 10+ systems did. We had AI in those legacy systems, but it was more machine learning than AI, and it really didn't provide the services that we wanted it to. So moving to a single solution with inbuilt AI has rapidly transformed how we do business. We've moved from third-party support to in-house engineering with clear product owners, and that's made a massive, massive difference to us. The core engineering team in the IT department and a product leader in the business who's telling us what problems we need to solve, and then the engineering team will go and solve those problems. And that's made really clear accountability about who's responsible for what, and we can get on with the IT and the business can get on with the business. We're using the built-in automation and AI within Connect. We are turning it on as quickly as we can, and it's really important having that business link between business and IT so that you can turn it on as fast as possible. For example, we turned on manager evaluations in a couple of weeks. We can now add images live in chat, which we weren't able to do before, and we're really accelerating the adoption of that AI. And some of the great stuff we've been able to do is put in auto wrap. So now we have auto wrap in place. That's making a massive difference. We've reduced our talk time by 30 seconds in some cases, which is absolutely fantastic. And what we've been able to do with that extra 30 seconds is cross-sell between some of our brands. So we've used that spare capacity and the removal of that cognitive load from our agents to help cross-sell across our business. So it's driving revenue, it's driving growth by using the AI features in a single SaaS platform. So where are we going next? We're looking at Agentic, like probably most of you are, and we're experimenting with that. We recently did a trial with Novasonic, and we used that, and we saw that it could fulfill 80% of the customer inquiries using voice-to-voice. It's not live in production yet, but we've tested it, and that works fantastically well. And it's definitely somewhere we're going. And also, we really want to build a fully agentic AI contact center, along with a fully agentic business, and that's going to be really, really important for us going forward. So what impact have we seen? We have 10,000 agents using Connect. It's probably a bit more. It's probably about 11,000 now. It's one of the biggest Connect instances in EMEA. Just enabling Gen AI on web chat and a website has doubled the fulfillment rate, literally overnight. Moving from the old machine learning way to AI has really made a massive difference, and that's improving our customer service. It's keeping our customers happy. We've reduced our HT across multiple journeys significantly, 140 seconds to 87 seconds, just using AI and Connect, auto wrap, etc. And we've seen a massive increase in our NPS. We've actually seen an 89% increase across some journeys in NPS just by using the features in Connect. We've also have going live today in the UK, automated escalation of calls. So if an agent is on the call to a customer and Connect identifies that customer is trying to escalate something and the agent hasn't noticed, that gets flagged automatically to them. And that's a massive benefit, so we don't miss anything and we can make sure the customer service is great. And we're also turning on this week as well, automated vulnerability escalation. So if Connect recognizes somebody is a vulnerable customer, they are struggling to pay for their gas and electricity, that is automatically flagged to the agent so they don't miss it, making sure we capture everything. So where are we going in the future? So we're utilizing Amazon Connect agents to provide better assistance and reduce the cognitive load from our contact center employees. That's one of the biggest benefits we found as a company. And when you're using lots of different systems, like I said before, the cognitive load on the call center agents is very high. It's very complex, moving between lots of screens. So we're going to build more agents and more assistants for our employees and also our customers. We're just about to start to launch customer profiles and cases, and integration through to services such as Salesforce, etc. And where possible, we're going to integrate as many of our third-party systems into Connect as possible, so everything is in one single pane of view for the agent. And then we're going to continue to look at how we can consolidate any systems we have left behind into Amazon Connect, so we have one single system of record. We've used services outside of Connect in conjunction with Connect as well. So, for example, we've used Bedrock to analyze customer complaints. And we've used that to read all the transcriptions from all our calls and explain why somebody would be complaining about something or having an issue. And that's reduced our complaints by 28% just by using Connect and Bedrock. So there's a lot of exciting things to come. I'm sure there'll be some stuff later in this talk that we can utilize to empower our customers and our staff further. So that's our story of Connect. Thank you for listening, and I'll hand back over to Pasquale.
so much. I love that. I love the part where he talked about really making a connection with the customer there and thinking about vulnerable customers, things that, a lot of folks, when they think about customer service, are so focused on some metrics that are hard to measure, even that are basic. These are the types of metrics that are fundamentally changing people's lives. And to me, the customers who do that with Connect, I really feel amazing about that outcome. That's why I get up every morning. That's why our team gets up and works so hard to deliver the software we do. So I want to thank you so much, James, for that story and telling your tale of how you got to where you are with Connect. We're just getting started, though. We have so much more we're going to do together, which is what's even more exciting. So talk a little bit about what we're launching this week. The first thing I'm going to talk about is action with AI. We've tried to break this into 4 different blocks to make it a little more digestible. Again, those 29 services, honestly, I can't really list all 29 of them, or 29 new capabilities. So let's dive right into actions. So thinking about actions, the first thing and the one that everyone thinks about is first-party agents. We're now offering that out of the box with Connect, speech-to-speech capabilities, so you can have beautiful voices and have a terrific experience there. We also offer MCP integration for all of you tech folks out there. You know what that means. For those that don't, that's the best standard that we found so far for integration into back-end services to allow you to use your agentic capabilities on the fly without having to do a bunch of heavyweight coding. Instead, you just define what they are, and then Connect can access them and take action. Of course, you still control if we do that or not, but it's a delight to be able to go in and use the most modern technologies to be able to achieve these things quickly and Connect. And then evaluations. So we're continuing to add more and more evaluation capabilities for human agents, but now we've taken those same capabilities and made them available for your agentic agents. So instead of trying to figure out what success looks like and trying to then cross-align those, instead think about how success looks like for the customer and then bring that back to bear on how you think about your agentic agents and your human agents at the same time. Really powerful for being able to then make progress on both sides so each side can be helping each other get better. And then finally, we've added Bedrock knowledge base support because folks came and told us, hey, we really need to be able to get our data in there from our knowledge bases quickly. The great thing is also because of the nature of the way this works, instead of trying to do a ton of knowledge management, you start to look at where success happens, bringing all these capabilities together, and where failures are happening and say, this is what I need to fix, versus trying to fix your entire knowledge base and manage the entire knowledge base, which really isn't possible. Instead, fix the things that matter. That's going to be a much smaller number and much more manageable. So this is very exciting for you to make real progress. So talking a little bit about what we're doing here, one of the things I'm sure some of you are very excited about is also the capabilities for third-party agents. Folks have been asking for this, so we've built tools to be able to bring third-party agents into Connect as well. This is something I don't think anyone else is doing, which is saying, how do we orchestrate across our own agents plus other agents in a way that makes life simple and possible for you? There's a number of ways we do this that we're not going to dive deep into it today. We could talk for hours on that. But if you want to find out more, and I'll say this again, come by the booth. We're happy to engage with you and talk about what we're doing there, what we've shipped, what's coming as well. This is an area where, again, we're not trying to lock you in. We want to give you, empower you to make great outcomes for your customers in ways that really matter. And the way we do that is by giving you choice. So the next thing I want to talk about a little bit is the elevating your workforce. Elevating your workforce is actually one of the most valuable things you can do. You've probably hired a lot of really good people. A lot of times they're probably frustrated and hamstrung by some of the tools that you've given them. If we're being honest about it, that's almost certainly the case. Every day at Amazon, we get better too. You've got to be continually doing this. This is where the biggest values are. It's not just about saving them time, though. It's about making them better at their jobs, giving them the opportunity to use the things that humans are really good at, like great human judgment, like empathy, like passion, like being able to connect with your customers. And so the first thing is there really is agentic assistance can help them be able to get better information and better outcomes and better tools to be able to go and change fundamentally what they're doing on a call. So instead of sitting there fiddling with the things, and I once had a customer tell me, I have 35 applications. If I could just get them in the right order, that would make a big difference. Instead of worrying about that problem, let's just get the answer in front of the agent, let the tool in front of the agent to let them change the configuration, do the things there, and take away the cut and paste errors, the alt tabs, the things that are distracting them from connecting. You'll see, we actually took, when we were prototyping this, we actually took our agents, they volunteered, and we said, do some of you want to try this out? And we're going to put a heart rate monitor on to see how you physically respond to it. And what we actually saw is folks' heart rate went down. Now, do you think an agent performs better when they're less stressed? I'm gonna bet they do. And those are the types of things we see, these real-world results, when you take this technology and don't try and just make a side of a box exciting for someone to buy it, but instead you really focus on these solutions that change the way it impacts human lives. This next one, persona-based workspaces, is kind of a mouthful. The thing about that that's great is we're making it so you can maintain all the same security constructs you have today, but then create UIs using no-code interfaces to be able to change the configuration of Connect or the experience inside of Connect for folks, so you don't have to be a technician. You can then go and do things. An easy example, which is very simple, but we'll get it across, is if you wanted to have someone be able to turn on a snow day, turn on a snow day with just a click, that's something that now we can expose to folks. This is a very powerful tool. I could spend an hour and a half on this one alone. Being able to let your business people take control without putting your business at risk is really, really powerful. Folks love this because it's no code, so you can actually create these things and deploy them anywhere, and they can sit inside of your dashboard, they can sit as Connect, they can sit inside of any kind of interface you want because they're very, very flexible. A super cool feature. Sneaky cool. And of course, our integration with Salesforce continues to get better and better all the time. We love what we're doing with them, a great partner for folks who like Salesforce. So when we get in here around this, what we really think about is this interaction and this orchestration across agents who are both human and AI. And I'm going to dive into that now. I've dove into that a little bit now for you, but I've used a lot of words. I think it might be useful for you to see it in person a little bit. So with that, I'm going to ask Bamba to come up and maybe give you a quick demo of what that looks like, and he can show you more what this means.
Thank you, PQ. Hi, everyone. I'm Bamba, Product Manager with Amazon Connect. I want to tell you something you probably do not know about PQ. His passion for K-pop music. That's right, and there's more. He loves buying these K-pop t-shirts from any company retail. And when we were coming here, sitting on a plane, he turned around and said to me, Bamba, you'll love the t-shirt I got for our event. As he pulled his phone to show it to me, his face changed. The man has shipped it to his house, not here at reInvent. So he needed to call any company retail and figure something out. I could tell you how that call went, but let me just play it for you.
Hi, PQ. What can I do for you today?
I'm calling because I ordered a t-shirt from my favorite K-pop band, and it looks like I had it shipped to my house instead of the hotel. I'm bummed. I needed this for an event in Las Vegas. It was my mistake, but I don't know how to fix it. I guess I could take a refund, but I would love it if I could ship to my hotel at reInvent instead. And if we can make this quick, it would be great because I'm about to lose connection as I'm boarding a plane.
Got it. Don't worry. I'll repeat only when necessary because I know you're in a rush. Have you thought about which hotel you want to ship to?
Yes, I'm staying at the Venetian. If you can send a t-shirt to my hotel instead, that would be amazing.
Your order has already shipped, but we can send another one to the Venetian at 3355 South Las Vegas Boulevard. You can return the previous t-shirt at your earliest convenience using the return shipping label I'll send you. I'll email it to you so you have it. Now, let me locate a new t-shirt for you.
Awesome.
It looks like we've run out of the K-pop t-shirt you ordered. I'm happy to help you select something similar that you'd like. Would you like me to do that for you?
No, that won't work. I'm about to take off. I don't have time to do that. I'm going to need to cancel my order. Super sad.
I understand you're about to take off. Let me go ahead and send you a push notification so you can continue chatting with us. Just in case, I'll include a few items we recommend based on your preferences. Enjoy your flight, PQ, and have a great event at reInvent. I'm here to help if you change your mind.
Thank you.
That's what happened. So what we heard was an AI agent that was capable of adjusting how they talk because PQ was in a rush. We heard an AI agent that was capable of taking actions, sending shipping labels, sending push notifications, checking real-time inventory. And we also heard an AI agent that understood all the long explanations that Pasquale provided. You'll tell me with all the goodness, Pasquale still didn't receive his t-shirt. And you're right, we need to solve that. But before, let me introduce you to Diego, our contact center agent who's going to help Pasquale in a few seconds. Diego joined Any Company Retail not long ago, and he's been super happy to have all the tools helping him help difficult customers like PQ. So now let's go back to PQ. The plane took off at this point. PQ quickly logged into the Wi-Fi and received his push notification and clicks on it. And then he lands on this chat window. Notice what we see here. The chat makes it very clear that PQ doesn't need to repeat himself because all the context is already here. That's memory, as PQ mentioned earlier. So PQ wants his t-shirt. He's going to go along with this conversation. And the system starts looking for Diego to connect him with PQ. Now, we all know that wait times can be long. So the system sends the recommendations that were announced so that PQ can start looking at a t-shirt that he might want for this event. And better yet, the system pushes an interactive game that PQ can play with while he's waiting. This is an amazing opportunity for you to send product information and get engagement from your customers as they wait. Now, in the spirit of reinvent, that's a lucky spin. PQ plays along and wins a 5% discount just as Diego joins the conversation. Now, let's go ahead and look at Diego's perspective here. Diego works on his agent desktop that is powered by Amazon Connect workspaces and branded for Any Company Retail, like you can see on the top. On the left, Diego can see all the chat history, and on the right, the Amazon Connect assistant is ready to support Diego. Now, in the center, Diego has a lot of information about PQ, including his t-shirt size, and that matters. You'll know why later. Diego glances over the case information and look at the nice AI summary that's on the top that makes it clear that PQ has been sent some recommendations. Now, when Diego goes into the adaptable screen, he can go ahead and see the exact same recommendations that were pushed to PQ. Now he's ready to engage with PQ and ask him if he wants one of the items that was sent to him. PQ loves K-pop, so he's going to say, yes, I want this t-shirt. Now, Diego can start looking for information for PQ because PQ is wondering whether we have his size. Now, look the magic that happens on the right. Automatically, the Connect assistant detects that a question has been asked and offers to Diego to go find that information for them. And quickly comes back, and Diego can now go back to PQ and confirms that the t-shirt is available in his size. Now, I told you he loves K-pop, so he wants something more. He's asking, what else can I buy? Diego's new, as I told you. He doesn't really know too much about the inventory, but let's not worry, because the Connect assistant on the right comes again and offers help. Now, look what happens this time. Not only it comes back with information, but there is an interactive button there that's shown, and Diego can just click on it and go in a display that can help him to quickly add an item. And better yet, he can copy a well-crafted AI message and send it directly to PQ, which saves him a tremendous amount of time. Now, PQ wants this. He loves the suggestion, and Diego can move along and starts adding it to his cart. Now, Diego can finish the payment, take payment from PQ, and concludes the sale. Now, PQ's quite happy because he's able to get not only his t-shirt and the additional item that he wanted. But now, instead of just saying PQ is happy, why don't we ask PQ how it turned out for him? How did it turn out for you, PQ?
Well, looking good, I think. Thank you. Thank you. So hopefully that made it a little clearer how all of this works, and you got to see it in action a little bit to bring it to life a bit. I'm going to dive back into some more features because we only have so much time here, but obviously the parts where you see the realities of it are far more interesting than any kind of feature-less deep dive. But I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you some more of the things we are bringing to life here at reInvent this year. So I'm going to talk about data a little bit here quickly, but data for the sake of building relationships and helping you better interact with your customers. So the first thing is that we've done is we have a tool inside of Amazon Connect that's called Customer Profiles, and it allows you to pull all of the information across your enterprise into one place and get scalable and hyper-performant access to it so you can make decisions quickly. We're bringing a lot more power into that so you can do much, much more with it. And so this capability inside of Connect is now in preview with AI-powered predictive insights, so you can actually then see what you think customers are likely to want. That's how you're getting things like suggestions from me that show this cool Connectrix shirt. The not a real band. You can go look for it maybe. We didn't take the effort to actually put up anything in TikTok, but maybe we should have. But that ability to say, hey, here's what this person's likely to want to do can go much further than just merchandising. It can be a lot of things like, hey, this person's likely to churn, or hey, this person is likely to want to need help with something else, or if you do this thing, you're likely to need to do this right afterwards. All these types of things are the things that are going to change the way your agents think about interacting, or even automated experience think about interacting with your customers. We also are now offering more journey capabilities inside of Connect, so you can actually step-by-step engage with customers in effective ways that lead them through the experience. And everything we do here, we build in ways that it can help both the agent and the customer. We think of this as really a team trying to support each other. Now, obviously, there may be some situations where there are challenges, fraud, and things like that, and we definitely help with that as well. But the point being is, in most cases, really the people there should be treating each other like they're friends and having that kind of outcome. Well, if you think about Connect as a concierge, actually helping both sides solve the problem at hand, that's a huge win. And then WhatsApp support for social messaging is one that a lot of you have probably asked for. Huge to have that here. And so then when I talk about those tools, one of the key aspects of this is that we offer world-class abilities to ingest data, to merge it using Gen AI, to enrich the data so you have better data about your customer, and then use that predictive capabilities on top of that. And so that's just a core capability of Connect, very important. And then inside of there, we also are now offering a ton of new observability capabilities. I talked about this a little bit before, but it's very hard to get great results with Gen AI and with automated experiences and with Agentic AI if you can't observe and see what's happening. And so we're bringing these things directly into Connect. This also means you're not beholden to professional services and often bespoke proprietary professional services, which is pretty awful, brings you back to the 90s, I feel like, in the model where people are headed right now sometimes. We want to empower now. Of course, we are happy to help you with this, and we have professional services to help you, but we're in that teach a person to fish mode, not that here's a fish, good luck mode. And so I think it's really important that that's the solution, the way we offer the solution, so you are empowered to not just get some near-term benefit and then get left behind. Instead, how do we make continuous improvements all the time? And then during all of this is using the same analytics engines and capabilities that are built into Connect today. So you can see compliance, sentiment analysis, all these capabilities at once, all the way across the entire customer journey. So it's not 3 different experiences for the customer. It's really just one interaction, or no matter how many things get fixed or how many times they get helped in a communication, it's all just one thing to that customer. It needs to be all that one thing to your view of that customer as well. So I'm going to get Bamba up here. The last demo went so well, I wanted to come up and give one more. So if you don't mind, Bamba, will you come up and do another demo for us?
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. So how did we make all of that goodness happen earlier? How did PQ go smoothly from voice to chat, PQ getting personalized recommendations, and PQ being able to talk to Diego, who got enabled by an AI agent while working with them? How did any company, retail, put all of this together using Amazon Connect? It all starts with our low-code AI agent builder. It becomes really easy for people to create AI agents, like the recommendation AI agent that you saw earlier, providing information regarding a t-shirt replacement for PQ. Now, when you build these things, it starts with security. It's important, right? So with security profiles, you can define exactly the type of access that you want your AI agent to have, just like you would do for your human agents. Then we talk about capabilities. You assign capabilities to your AI agent. For example, finding an item that you can recommend that's personalized to your customer. Right? So thanks to 3 new AI personalization models that we created, now it becomes very easy for people to do personalization. And these rely on customer history data, personal preferences, or propensity scores when you load your data into Amazon Connect. We use industry standards like MCP integration that allow a seamless integration with your backend. That's why we're able to do sending a shipping label, being able to send push notifications and such. Now, PQ's explanations were real complex, and yet the system understood it, thanks to the 4 AI prompts that any company in retail defined that allow it to understand what PQ was talking about, categorize the requests, and being able to provide accurate answers. And obviously, when you're doing AI, you want guardrails, and those guardrails really helps you make sure that your AI agent is grounded in the rules that you've set for your company, just like you do for human agents. Now, all of this put together provide the experience that you heard earlier. Now, let's talk about journeys. When PQ talked to the AI agent, the voice AI agents, then a push notification got sent, and it smoothly went into a chat. That was journeys in action. With journeys, you can combine all of your different interactions, regardless of the channels, and make them totally make sense as the customer contact your company. Now, the journey designer leverages all of the different channels and use intelligence branching to make sure that you can contact the person at the right time through the right channel. Now, journey guardrails help you make sure that you do not over-communicate to your customers. Because a lot of times, you receive a message while you're sleeping or you're traveling. You really don't want to get anything. You get all of those notifications. This helps you take into account things like time zones, vacation schedules, and all of that, and make sure that you reach people when they need to be reached. This really allows you to have connected experiences that are all line up and that works well with what your customers are expecting. Now, we've seen AI agents helping your customer. We've seen it helping also Diego as he was helping PQ earlier. But we don't stop there. We also make sure that we provide tools that are very capable for contact center leaders and managers. When you're running this type of system, you really want to be able to test them end-to-end as you launch new AI systems. Now you can run thousands of tests to make sure you go through all of your interactions and detect issues before your customers are even exposed to it. And it doesn't stop there. Leaders also have access to metrics as well as evaluations to make sure that your AI agent is operating properly. You've seen evaluation forms before for all of these agents. Now, with the new AI evaluation forms, you can hold your AI agents at the same level of standards that you hold your human agents. Now, we talked about transcript. You already had transcripts for human agents. Now, you also have transcripts for AI agents, but it goes further. It also shows you exactly what the AI agent is doing. What you see on the screen is not only you see the content of the conversation, but you see also the actions that were taken that the AI agent has taken and the different capabilities that it leveraged to make that happen. In this case, he was looking at inventory. So all of this gets combined with all of the dashboards that we're creating and launching this time, and they are tied to making sure that you have a view of all of your AI agents' activities. It's not just looking at one interactions. It really allows you to make sure that you know which AI agent is working, which version of the AI agent is working, being able to see all of the details that are related to all of the, even the version of the capabilities that you're launching and the version of the tools. This allows managers and leaders to make sure that they can leverage all of the data that's available there. And this is what we call the power of data that you combine that makes relationships and outcomes as you expected. And with that, I'll hand it over to PQ.
So hopefully, again, that helped make it real when you think about how Amazon Connect really is built from the ground up to treat agents and agents as if they're all agents. The fact that human interactions and bot to human interactions or agentic AI to human interactions are all the same means that the data you get from it is something you can understand and use together to, again, improve the performance of both and really create that experience across the end-to-end customer experience. And that is so important. And I do love to talk a little bit about why that is, because it's something we invested in starting many years ago in Connect, which was to think about a unified solution that wasn't built from pieces, parts that were cobbled together. We didn't go buy a bunch of companies and stick them together. Instead, we took a little longer path where we built everything from the ground up to use the same engine across, whether it be the contact management, whether that be routing, whether that be the automation capabilities. So if you automate a task that has no customer interaction, a chat, which might have some level of customer interaction or agent interaction, or a full voice experience, those are the same engine. Literally one block that we added to it actually made that a visual experience, so you can build those step-by-step experiences, the guides that guide your agents, then those guides can also be taken and given directly to your end customers. This is because it really truly is a unified solution from the ground up. And so now that we've done that and we have this foundation, you can see how much faster we're able to move now to deliver this innovation across the entire experience. And so while it's a little bit in the weeds to talk about it, I think it's important to understand that's why there's a big significant difference from what we're doing and the way we're investing than anyone else I see in the industry or anyone else is delivering. And it makes a big difference to you because when you come in the morning, you really don't care what the technology is underlying it all. As long as it works, then you're probably at least pretty happy. But the difference between you being able to go innovate at the pace you want to go build those experiences for your customers and for your agents and to link them together in ways that make them seamless, well, that comes from this investment, and that's why I like to show the slide that shows how we think about observability and analytics as a core part of the entire solution, how we think about the communication channels as something that you interact with as something that's part of the entire solution, how we think of knowledge and data being plugged into the entire solution. And that's why the orchestration across the whole thing can then be seamless, and the data that you get to look at, then you can understand it. And so as we continue to move forward, we'll bring more and more capabilities with how we'll use Agentic AI to actually configure your contact center and view the data. A beta of that is out now. More of that will be coming soon. And so you'll be able to see incredible outcomes in your contact centers without having to be spending all of your time trying to merge all this data, trying to merge all these capabilities, understand how they work together. Instead, it just works that way out of the box. And so again, it's about your speed, your performance, your outcomes that really matter. That's why we're doing this, and that's why we're so excited about it. So as I think about the future of customer experience, I get incredibly excited. I hope you are too. You probably when you joined this industry, you were incredibly passionate about helping people. Hopefully you still feel that way, because I think we're at the precipice right now of being able to collectively together as a partnership between you and hopefully between you and us, that we can go do that together to fundamentally change that experience. And as a customer of many of my customers, I appreciate every time I have a great customer experience with them. I want to go make this a different world for people. I think you guys probably do too. And so with that, I really hope you join us. I'll say there are some places if you are here to grab some more pieces here to take a look at. I know a lot of people like to take a photo of this. Hopefully Hopefully some of these are still available. I think a lot of the sessions have already filled up, but they will become available afterwards. Of course, also come down to the booth and say hello. We'd love to walk you through this. Your account manager is also happy to introduce you. Our experts are available to talk about this so you can really deeply understand what everything we talked about today means. With that, I want to thank you so much for coming to reInvent, and thank you so much for coming and listening to us today. So let's go light the way to great customer service. You may have to pull out the little tab on the bottom. It's about the same difficulty as setting up Amazon Connect, so pop that tab and let's head over. And if I see you at the clubs, I'll know who you are. Cool. Thank you so much.